Hi there, welcome to the weekly Bitcoin Wyckoff session. We're looking at the weekly chart of Bitcoin. So, when you look at this, you'll probably be asking, if you're new to my sessions, why are those, there are two sets of text, one yellow, one blue. Reason being, I was explaining to some of the fellow community that there may be an additional scenario that's happening if Bitcoin is really going through a crazy mega cycle. So if the yellow were true, it's there exists a possibility that there will be an upwards of the distribution if that's the ultimate peak according to the Wyckoff method. However, as of this moment in time, we're not seeing that kind of volume yet. Here, maybe some accumulation or change of hands is happening. It's not going below this support level. This is not a strong support, however, it's staying above that price range or price level. So that's surprising that some people are like keeping the price at that level. Hopefully they are true about this, that there may be an upwards of the distribution and the yellow scenario becomes true. However, the blue scenario, as far as the overall market is concerned, it's aligning to the other cryptos or like even stocks. Unless Bitcoin is going to once again deviate from everybody else and prove its uniqueness, that will be the time the yellow scenario comes like being confirmed. If that's not the case, if it's really the blue scenario, after this weaker support level, it may be going to test the 71,000 level. That's the level defined by the buying climax and also the second test before it's going to test the automatic reaction level. That's around 61. So there are a lot of arguments saying whether Bitcoin will return to these levels given like all the ETFs and stuff. There's never say never, right? ETF allows you to sell as well. It doesn't say it always. It only let you buy it and hodl, right? So, having said that, if you look at this green line may be like 71,000, maybe a support level. However, it's in terms of strength, the purple line would be stronger than that because of not only the automatic reaction. If we extend this line to the 2021-22 distribution cycle, that's also the peak over there. So some psychological factor may kick in, and maybe people would buy at that level around 60,000. If we move further down, the sign of weaknesses, that's around mid 50,000, around 55,000. Really pessimistic scenario. That's the PSY level, and also like the LPSY frequent trading range from the 2022. That's 44,000. However, if you ask if it really get worse than that, what's the next? That would be the long-term playground zone. So I have charted this box, somewhat different from some of the other altcoins, given like you can consider its inflation factored in. So from 2017 all the way up 2020 and then eventually 22-23, it's got higher and higher bottom, basically, Bitcoin for Bitcoin. If there's nothing really bad about Bitcoin happen, like security or network stability, all those things, that if factored in like inflation and adoption, that's reasonable that it's going through an upward trend instead of staying sideways. Um, until a time when Bitcoin gets really, really mature and adoption is basically saturated as well around the globe, then it may become a kind of a horizontal or less sloping upwards, just like catering inflation instead of uh, inflation plus adoption. So that would be the worst case scenario if things get really bad. It would test the bottom of this long-term playground zone. Looking at the timeline, it would be around mid 20,000. Hopefully, that won't be the case, but we never know. So if we take a look at the monthly chart, we're now seeing a little bit of green after 2 months of red. However, if we like take into consideration of Wyckoff, that's not like there's no any contradiction. That's what I want to say. If we look at the last cycle, after a little bit of pause, it finishes off and completes the distribution cycle and returns to the long-term playground zone. Let's see whether that would be the case this time. Last time it was like double peak. This time, in terms of candlestick pattern, it's more like that it would have a head and shoulder, but well, it's not always the case. There may not be a like right side shoulder, but let's see how the market is going to drive the graph. In terms of daily, it's still within the narrow downward flag that I've drawn a few days back. Today it hits the top and it's coming down a little. However, this is only a matter of time that it's broken through, maybe sideways or slightly upwards, but like last week or two, it's mainly sideways. So if this trend continues, the time would be around here. That's the support line extended from this level. Remember, from the weekly chart, we see this yellow line. That's the SOW levels. So that's where it is. So at this moment, it's more like at the automatic response level. However, over here, that would be the sign of weakness. So once it's fallen through, it's going to test the 71,000 range, and it won't be surprising that it's going to trade between 55 to 72 again, because that's the trading range for February, late February, like all the way till November last year. So it's totally possible that it returns to that range. So that's pretty much it for Bitcoin for now. Thanks for joining.